I mean, you know the exact moment, right?
Yeah.
The exact moment you become a perfectly synchronized mind-reading power couple.
It feels like a victory.
Yeah, exactly. But it's actually, well, it's the exact moment your relationship is in the most danger.
Total comfort is a wonderful achievement. But uninterrupted, predictable comfort is the silent killer of attraction. It starves the brain of what it actually needs to sustain desire.
Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are unpacking source material that is so clever, it's practically in disguise.
It really is.
We're looking at a lesson plan from the Midnight English Guide, specifically episode 15. And, you know, if you were to just glance at the syllabus, you would think this is just a standard language acquisition course,
Right.
like for intermediate B1 to B2 level English learners.
But the vocabulary they are teaching isn't about how to order a coffee or ask for directions.
Right.
When you analyze the underlying methodology, it is a masterclass in attachment psychology. The creators are using linguistic structures to teach people how to stop being entirely predictable.
It is literal relationship counseling wrapped in grammar.
Precisely.
And the core concept they introduce right out of the gate is something they call the glue trap.
The glue trap.
Yeah, and if you're listening right now, you have probably fallen into this trap without even realizing it. I know I have.
We all do.
The glue trap is, it's this phenomenon where two distinct, really fascinating individuals slowly merge into a single, highly efficient, but incredibly boring unit.
Yes.
You know, you start grocery shopping together, you go to the gym at the exact same time, you become a blurry, singular dot.
Well, neurologically speaking, attraction relies on a mechanism of novelty. Our dopamine systems require a steady diet of new information to stay engaged. When you become glue, you completely eliminate the friction of the unknown. You stop generating new data for your partner to process.
Which means the mystery just completely evaporates.
It vanishes.
And, I mean, we know this inherently, right? We know we need space to maintain our individuality. But the mission of today's deep dive is to look at how we ask for that space.
That is the critical point.
Because the source points out that the moment we try to establish a boundary, we almost always use the entirely wrong vocabulary.
We do, because
yeah.
we confuse physical distance with emotional rejection.
Yes.
People are terrified that saying, "I need to be alone," will trigger their partner's abandonment anxiety.
Yeah.
They fear it translates directly to, "I am losing interest in you."
And that fear, it leads to the most painful communication failures. Like, the guide highlights how people will literally ask for permission to live their own lives.
It's tough to hear.
It is. You hear these defeated, sort of shrinking phrases like, is it okay if I just read in the other room for a bit? Or they invent these super flimsy apologetic excuses to justify wanting like an hour to themselves.
Right.
Saying things like, oh, I'm just a little tired, my head hurts, I should probably stay in.
It is a posture of absolute weakness. When you ask for permission or when you apologize for requiring solitude, you are subtly communicating that your independence is an offense.
Oh, wow.
You are framing your own autonomy as something you need to be pardoned for.
That completely shifts the power dynamic.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. Like, it makes you look like a dependent rather than a partner.
Exactly. And to fix this, the guide introduces a specific linguistic framework. They call it the chunking method, combined with the separate lives framework.
Chunking method.
Yes. And phase 1 is all about mastering what they call the recharge statement.
Okay, so the psychological pivot here is vital. You have to frame your need for space, not as an escape from the relationship, but as like a mandatory tool to become a better, more energized participant in it.
You are not fleeing, you are reloading.
Reloading. I love that visual. It's so active. And the guide gives us specific chunks of vocabulary to execute this.
Yes, the first module.
Let's look at chunk number 1. The phrase you are supposed to use is, I need to go off the grid for a bit.
I need to go off the grid for a bit.
Hearing you say it like that, with that really deliberate pacing, it totally shifts the mood.
It does.
But I have to admit, when I first read this phrase on the page, I kind of chuckled. Because off the grid sounds a bit cinematic, doesn't it?
It is a bold statement.
Right. Like, does it sound almost too dramatic if I just want to sit on the balcony and scroll through my phone for an hour? Like I'm in an espionage movie.
Well, it might feel slightly elevated at first, but that deliberate, almost adventurous tone is the exact mechanism that makes it work.
Really?
Think about the alternative phrasing. If you say, "I need to be by myself," you are focusing on the isolation. It sounds melancholic.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm hiding or pouting.
Precisely. But announcing that you are going off the grid sounds purposeful. It implies you are stepping away to execute a restorative function that is deeply important for your own mental architecture.
Oh, I see.
You're taking your energy offline to run a system update.
Okay, yeah. It elevates the mundane act of wanting quiet time into something totally intentional. Like, you are choosing to disconnect because your focus and your energy are valuable commodities.
Which is exactly why this phrase cannot stand alone. It must be immediately anchored by chunk number 2.
Right. Chunk number 2 is, I'll be back in my element soon.
Notice the specific mechanical function of the word element.
It's incredibly smooth.
Yeah.
Because you aren't just saying, I'll be back to you, which, still makes them the center of the universe.
Exactly.
By saying you'll be back in your element, you're signaling a return to your own optimal state of being. Like, I was thinking about this in terms of agriculture, actually.
Go on.
If you plant the exact same crop in the exact same field season after season, the soil eventually just dies. It yields absolutely nothing. You have to let the field lie fallow. You have to leave it empty so the nutrients can replenish.
That is a highly accurate representation of relational energy.
Right.
Going off the grid is letting the soil of your relationship replenish. And by stating you will return in your element, you are demonstrating emotional self-reliance. You are proving that you manage your own weather system. You do not rely on your partner to regulate your mood.
Man, that kind of self-regulation is just deeply attractive. It completely removes the burden from the other person. You aren't this project they have to manage. You're a fully functioning adult who knows how to cultivate their own soil.
It establishes your value.
So, establishing that boundary works perfectly when you are the one who needs the space. But let's pivot to the other side of the equation.
The difficult side.
Because this is where the real psychological friction lives. I mean, it is very easy to be the one walking into the other room. But what happens when the tables turn?
Yes.
What happens when you're sitting on the couch and your partner grabs their coat to go out without you?
The anxiety spike.
Exactly.
The sudden evolutionary threat response that your bond is being tested.
It is terrifying for so many people.
Yeah.
And it leads to this terrible, completely hypocritical trap.
We want our space. But the second they take theirs, the interrogation begins.
Yes. If you're listening to this, really think about the last time your partner left for the evening. Did you feel your chest tighten up? Did you immediately ask, well, who exactly are you going with? What time will you be back?
The insecurity instantly repels the attraction you have been trying to build. When you interrogate a departing partner, you are providing them with hard evidence that your emotional stability depends entirely on their physical proximity to you.
You're telling them you can't survive the separation. Which brings us right into phase 2 of the guide. High-value support, or the confidence push.
A crucial phase.
And the premise feels entirely counterintuitive when you are in a state of panic. Like, the guide argues that by actively, warmly encouraging your partner's independence, you actually accelerate their desire to return to you.
It utilizes the psychology of the open door. If you lock an individual inside a room, their primary focus will be entirely consumed by finding a way out. They will view the walls as an adversary.
Sure, human nature.
If, however, you leave the door wide open, the desire to escape vanishes. They might wander out to explore, but they will invariably return because the environment is devoid of restriction.
That open door policy is perfectly distilled into chunk number 3. And the phrase is beautifully simple. It's just, go do your thing.
Go do your thing.
But, and this is key, the source includes a crucial stage direction here. It mandates that this phrase must be delivered with a genuine warm smile.
The delivery is everything. You must observe what is absent in that phrasing. You are not saying, okay, you can go. That implies a hierarchy where you hold the authority to grant permission.
Yeah, you aren't their parent letting them pass curfew.
Exactly. You are enthusiastically endorsing their autonomy, a relaxed jaw, a warm expression. These physiological cues tell your partner that you are completely unthreatened by the existence of a world outside of your shared bubble.
Receiving that kind of unbothered support feels like a massive exhale, like, oh, thank God.
It does.
But then we reach chunk number 4. And honestly, this is where the execution gets incredibly delicate.
It requires finesse.
Yeah. So when they are heading out the door and they turn back and ask if you'll be okay or if you'll be bored while they're gone, the prescribed chunk is, I've got plenty to keep me busy.
I've got plenty to keep me busy.
Now, I can hear the potential disaster in this phrase.
Oh, absolutely.
If I imagine a listener trying to deploy this while they are secretly feeling left behind, it could backfire spectacularly. Because I've got plenty to keep me busy, it can so easily cross the line into passive-aggressive territory.
It can sound like a punishment.
Right. Fine, go have fun. I have plenty to do without you.
Yeah.
So how do we ensure this doesn't sound like a deeply bitter, sulky teenager?
Well, the vocal tone is entirely downstream of your actual intent. If you deploy the phrase as a shield to hide your resentment, your partner will detect the friction immediately.
They always do.
The guide specifies the psychological posture required here. You must genuinely possess your own gravity.
You have to be a planet, not just a moon orbiting around their schedule.
That is the perfect distinction. You are proving that you have your own passions, your own projects, and your own internal life. You are not sitting by the window waiting for their return.
Yeah.
When you say, "I've got plenty to keep me busy," with genuine lightness, you are reminding them that you are a person with a full, rich agenda. The world does not cease to spin simply because they exited the room.
That shift in mindset completely changes the delivery. You aren't saying it to push them away. You're saying it to hold your own ground. You're comfortable in your own solitude.
Exactly.
So let's play this out. You have successfully navigated the separation. You went off the grid, they went and did their thing, you both survived the afternoon apart without falling into the jealousy trap.
The separation was successful, but the reunion is where the tension must resolve.
And the reunion is where so many couples completely squander the space they just created.
They waste it.
The guide is ruthless about this. You come back together, you sit down for dinner, and you spend the entire evening staring at your respective phones in absolute silence.
Because the glue trap has created a state of intellectual bankruptcy. You have experienced everything together for so long that you possess zero new data to exchange.
Intellectual bankruptcy, that is such an accurate way to describe that heavy silence.
It is heavy.
The solution to this, in phase 3, is what the guide calls the deep update. Like, the entire purpose of taking time apart is to generate fresh curiosity. You are now two distinct individuals who have gathered new experiences, and you are bringing them back to the shared table.
You have acquired new currency, now you must trade it.
And the linguistic chunks in this phase are designed to spend that currency perfectly. Chunk number 5, for the exact moment you lay eyes on them again, is simply, "I missed your face."
I missed your face.
I can just imagine you saying that. And honestly, it works.
It is effective.
It is so much more effective than a heavy, dramatic, "Oh, I missed you so much." It focuses on the physical. It is incredibly grounded. Feels casual, almost teasing, but it carries a very specific kind of intimacy.
It acts as a verbal reward for the separation. It acknowledges that the absence created a minor deficit, and that seeing them again physically satisfies that deficit. It proves that the time apart did not fracture the bond, it actually sharpened the desire.
It sharpens the desire without making things heavy. And once you've established that sweet, grounded physical reunion, you drop chunk number 6 to ignite the conversation. The phrase is, "You won't believe what happened." It's an incredibly elegant hook. You won't believe what happened. You are practically forcing them to lean across the table and ask for the story.
It functions brilliantly on two distinct levels. Superficially, it shatters the silence and initiates an engaging dialogue.
Right.
But the deeper psychological mechanism is what makes it so powerful. It provides undeniable proof to your partner that you just had a dynamic, unpredictable experience entirely without them.
You had a whole life while they were gone.
You had a life, and that realization instantly re-injects mystery into the dynamic. Their brain registers a gap in its knowledge.
Oh, interesting.
They realize they do not know everything about your day, which implies they do not know everything about you. That slight unknown, that sudden realization of your continuing complexity is what sustains long-term attraction.
It keeps them slightly on their toes. It cures the glue trap because you are no longer that predictable merged unit. You are two fascinating people who just happen to be sitting in the same room, sharing stories from the frontiers of your separate lives.
It requires immense discipline to maintain. It is substantially easier to surrender to the comfort of the glue. It requires effort to maintain the sharp edges of your own identity.
Which brings us perfectly to the core philosophy that wraps up this Midnight English lesson. The guide synthesizes everything we've talked about, the boundary setting, the open doors, the deep updates, into one central thesis. The ultimate goal of all these linguistic chunks is not to create distance simply for the sake of being distant.
Not at all. The goal is to cultivate two whole people choosing to be together.
Choosing rather than needing.
Needs create a burden. Choices create passion. A truly high-value individual is never genuinely terrified of their own company. They're deeply comfortable with solitude. And the profound irony of human attachment is that this exact lack of fear, this quiet, unshakable comfort with being alone, is precisely the trait that makes people never want to leave you.
You become a magnet rather than a chain. It is a fundamental shift in how we use the mechanics of language to shape the reality of our relationships. And it leaves us with something really vital to think about as we wrap up this deep dive.
Pay close attention to the vocabulary of your relationships today.
Listen to the words you use with your partner, your friends, the people you care about most. Ask yourself, are your words acting as glue? Are you subtly demanding permission, smoothing over all the mystery, and tying yourself into a predictable knot? Or are your words giving the people you love and yourself the actual space required to keep the soil rich and the attraction alive? And taking it even one step further, I want you to look inward.
A vital step.
Because if space is the oxygen of fire, maybe look at your own internal dialogue. What if the person you have been slowly smothering in a glue trap, not letting them have new experiences or break out of a comfortable routine, what if that person is actually yourself? Something to think about.